Oh,
So
hey.
the stream is live.
It happened. Hello there, and welcome to yet another SWTVC live stream on YouTube, which is the video home of the SWTVC team. I don't know. I'm obviously rusty on doing these intros. I'm Evan, or as you may know me on Instagram, or in the little box. Oh, how do they do that? Yeah, down there. At Mile High Ground. So I'm joined today by John, Tyler, and Lewis, my wonderful SWTVC teammates. And you know what? John, why don't you take it away from here?
Wow. Here we are, everybody. We're a little bit late for the PulseCon reveals, but a great series just wrapped up. There's still plenty to talk about, and we got some great stuff. We got to start with the biggest. We got to start with the baddest. We got to start with the barge. Lewis, you finally got a long, well, you haven't got it in the mail yet, but it's on the way.
No, yeah, obviously it's on its way. It's crazy. I genuinely didn't expect to win it. I didn't even really totally enter to win it. And I don't get me wrong, I totally want it. I haven't got a barge, but it was such a good cause. Steve does a lot of these things. Good on you, Steve. You do some really good stuff for charity. Save the Children's Gate Fund, and I literally donated to it and I just forgot about it. I didn't expect anything else much to come of it. And then so it was weird because I woke up in the morning and everyone was congratulating me and I didn't know what for because it's obviously happened while I was in bed. So it was a really surreal day, and it still hasn't 100% sunk in, I guess. But crazy. I'm over the moon.
That's Do you have anywhere to put it yet, or you have an eye towards that at least?
No. I was talking about space earlier, but yeah, I mean, obviously, again, I moved into this house about a year ago now, actually, with the aim of being that I will get a proper collection room at some point. That still hasn't happened yet, but yeah, it's going to have a space. It's going to have pride of place in that room when it's done. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. Evan got something that's almost as big, almost as cool, I see. Yeah.
Yes, and of course I brought up a bunch of stuff to reference, and I didn't bring up the one thing. But listeners of the SWTVC podcast would recall I recently had mentioned that I don't have a open Saw Gerrera. Anyway, listener and friend of the show, yes, Greg Schuler, kindly sent one my way, and I just wanted to give him a shout out for that. It's pretty rad. I was happy to add Saw, even though he's 5 POA. I know. I wish we got an all new from the ground up one like Black Series did. I know, but happy to have it. So thanks again, Greg. I really appreciate it.
It's a nice sculpt. It's a nice
sculpt. Yeah. I have that Saw. It's just over on the reject shelf over there. But
yeah. Hey, he does everything I need him to do. Stand there looking determined and also accepting his death at the hands of a giant Death Star turbo laser blast.
Yeah, we can't do his martial arts scenes from the movie, but other than that, he covers it pretty well.
Climbing walls.
Yeah. Almost as exciting. I got a lot of new star cases, so I've been putting some of my more carded figures in there. So that's thrilling stuff. But you still gotta get those giant boxes every year. So here I need 150 new star cases. Oh God.
You just reminded me. I just did my not weekly, but since we've gotten so many things in, I had to star case up a bunch of carded figures and then reorganize my shelves by putting them all in there by number, and that takes a while to redo the whole thing every time. So that's why I let them sit and get about 10 to 20 figures to add to it before.
Yes. I'll say, might as well say hi to the chat real quick. We see Toys of the Way. What's up? Phil the Force, Nick Redduck, Toys of the Jedi, Vintage Clone, Ben Spoiler Collector, Riley Bob. Lots of great guys. Thanks for coming, everybody. Middle Age TV Man, we see up there. It's Monday at work. Put the stream on. What do you need to be working for?
And if you're watching but not commenting, get in there, man. Get in the comments and contribute to the conversation. We'd love to hear what you have to say. So
we're gonna run out of stuff. We only have 2 hours of stuff to talk about. We're gonna
unless you're driving. Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not going past 2 hours. I've got to get up for work tomorrow. Yeah. There's no way I'm going past 2 hours.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. But so we'll just run down some of the other stuff that's arriving now. If you guys want to jump in, we've talked about some of this stuff before, but everybody else already has the Cad Bane wave. But I wanted to say Entertainment Earth is finally processing my case of this wave. Tyler got it. Yes. Did you find it in the store, right?
I did. Yeah. I got them in the store.
Is that allowed?
I got Boba. I've got Moff Jared, who just dropped his pistol. Great job, guy. But I was super stoked to find this wave in stores. Very excited. I do have more coming from EE. I left what's his name? The rebel dude. Yeah, I left 9 Numb on the peg because swivel hips. So but he'll be coming in the wave from EE, so I'll get him eventually, but I was just kind of like
You need those Baldwin hips.
Yeah, he's the one that's left behind currently at both of the Walmarts by me.
I bet you there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad
I
figure.
found
it's just a terrible figure. No, I'm just kidding. But
mine is still
it's a good figure.
EE likes to it's been hitting, as Jeff Russell says, it's been hitting stores for a while. But yeah, EE is only finally fulfilling, and I think they fulfilled some of the singles. I know they had Cad Bane a while ago.
I love Cad Bane so much.
I've been patient. It looks like a great figure, right?
It is. It really is. Love it.
And
the
then,
only question is like where to put them. I gotta create like a bounty hunter's shelf.
You'll have enough Book of Boba Fett stuff soon to have like all three
that's what
figures.
We need. You can put it in your throne room set. You know, you don't need Jabba in there. You can build it out.
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, I got my Jabba's palace in, and I love it. I'm sure we're going to talk about that, but
well, yeah, we can talk about it right now. I still have not opened mine, which should be of no surprise to anybody. But have you guys got yours? I saw yours set up, Tyler, already, but not many. I'm surprised you didn't have Thrawn sitting on that throne, Thrawn on the throne already. But
he's got his own throne up there.
Okay.
Up there. I got to get Vader's throne too, though, from the Obi-Wan show. People have 3D printed that. But I need to get that one.
But yeah, what do you think of that set? What do you guys think of that set so far?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it is amazing.
I do have it set up with Jabba, and I took the throne chair that Boba has, and I put it up with his slave ones, just kind of by itself up there. So I have the room with Jabba. But
I think most people are going to display it that way, aren't they? I mean, yeah. At the moment, I've still got Bib sitting in mine, sitting in the chair. But I think, ultimately, you're going to fill it with all of those Return of the Jedi figures.
I haven't opened my Bib.
I love this figure.
Oh, look at that boy!
It's a great figure,
chunky boy,
big boy.
And you don't realize how big he is until you put him next to another figure, and then the size of his legs and everything. He's just a real.
Yeah,
how does he compare to like a Gamorrean? I haven't looked.
I don't have a Gamorrean with me, but I've got.
Gamorrean's probably bigger, but he's a chunky boy.
Luke, that's
wow!
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
because the height is the same as the other Bib Fortuna, right? The regular.
I think so. Yeah, and he's a tall boy.
I haven't tried it actually.
He's a tall fellow. But yeah, one day I'll open them.
One day.
Boxes look nice. I do have space for it. Like I said, don't look at my not there, but I had space for it on the shelf, and I put all my retro figures on there because I had no space for those guys. So now they got to get out of here again. I'm sorry, Tyler. I put retro on the shelf.
John, you have a barge though, don't you? Is it down lower?
It's over here. I'm not.
It's off here. Yeah, gotcha.
Just off to my right. Yeah, but I have the barge. I just So, frankly, a lot has been coming in lately, which is nice, but it's also like, all right, give me a second to kind of ingest all this stuff and see where I'm going to put it. It has been nice. A lot of it's from Book of Boba Fett, which kind of shows the 18-month window. Obviously, it would have been nice 18 months ago when the show was new, but Mr. Favreau loves everything has to be a super secret because anything could be the next Grogu, apparently, according to him. And everything has to be top secret times. So, but it is nice that they're finally getting stuff out now. Another Book of Boba Fett thing, if we can move on to that, is the Luke and Grogu set, which I got in store at Target right before they shipped mine. He's got both lightsabers here right now, but
I haven't actually opened mine yet. It's the one I just literally have not had 5 minutes to sit and enjoy it, so I've kind of just waited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got it in.
Yeah, I love all the accessories in here. It's got so many. It's got 7 frogs. I don't know if we needed that many, but we got that many. And I love the Yoda's lightsaber and the Mithril shirt, whatever that is. And
the Mithril shirt.
Bag of it. A little Lord of the Rings. Dave loves his Lord of the Rings crossovers. So. But and the Luke it's almost all new. I know we don't need to run down the entire thing. I forget the The arms are reused, the head's reused, something like that. But it's surpringly
It's a lot
a
of
lot of
newness.
newness on that figure. Yeah, so it's nice to get that guy.
Yeah.
And it'll still be nice to get the single carded one because there's so many accessories. I can't use them all with this figure, so I'll set up some other scenes with the other guy.
Toys of the Way
Yeah.
did a great picture with Luke and Grogu and the frogs.
Yes, a little
Good job,
diorama
dude.
setup.
Yeah.
It's a great little set. But the only problem I find with that figure is where obviously people have pointed out it looks a bit like a waiter, you know, with this
Yeah.
the kind
Yeah,
of
all up
apron.
there in there.
I can't unsee it now. That's the problem. Every time I look at it, and I always dislike that Tarkin because it looked like he had a skirt. And now I look at that, and it's the one thing. It's probably why I haven't opened it yet. I haven't been overly sort of eager to open it up and have a look at it properly. But yeah, I don't know. I need to get over that.
I'm excited for it. This figure, the Imperial Light Cruiser Luke. I absolutely love this figure, but he does have the old style hips, right? Or slightly older style hips, right?
Yeah, it's not the fully up to date. So
I'm gonna see if I can do a little boil and popping with one of those new Jedi training Lukes and see if I could switch out the crotch piece and the upper legs and see if I can
yeah,
upgrade
worth
this
trying.
figure. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be
I don't know if
interesting
it'll
to see
work,
if it
but
works.
I want to try it.
I'm looking again because we always have to go over every single part that's new and reused. His arms are old and his head is old, but I think everything else is new, which is, you know, it's acceptable to me.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But yes, and then the Tusken Warrior, that's hitting Target stores, and the Tusken Warrior Massive is also hitting stores. That one shipped out to everyone a little bit earlier than Luke, so I think we already talked about it last time, but it is showing up in stores if you still don't have it. They did a reset last week. So yeah, go out and get it if you want it.
The deluxe box is
about...
wider than others. Is that really?
Yeah, the Luke Deluxe box is a little bit.
It's a little thicker.
What?
Yeah, I noticed that last night.
I don't know if it's because of the stand thing or something. Is that it?
I think it is it. Yeah, because that's a chunky.
Yeah,
piece.
now you say it, I hadn't realized, but you can see it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
what,
like that much wider. It's it's negligible, but
it's the same as one of those.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty much interesting.
I do like this as a deluxe. I mean, if they're just going to repack basic figures but add more accessories, which is not, again, could be better as army builders or whatever, but
the accessories are appreciated.
Yeah, the accessories in the set are really nice because there's so many of them. Mm-hmm. You can do a lot of, even though, as we said before, this version of Luke, he doesn't have like the full Jedi robes that he has for at the beginning and the end of the episode, where he does most of the stuff where he interacts with these accessories, but still a nice set. Another Book of Boba Fett thing is Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter, which is glorious. We've all got it. I had to prove it to you guys that I did open. I do open things once in a while, so I don't.
So, as we were just talking off air, I opened mine. I have taken a few photos to prove it, but it has gone back in that box, so you can see it's there behind me. Because it was just getting moved around the room, and I just thought someone's going to end up breaking this, so I reluctantly put it away, put it back. But again, we was talking the towel thing to get that towel off of it. It was. I honestly thought I was going to snap it, and what's bizarre is it's got that accessory piece that's stored inside, isn't it? So it's obviously meant to come off again, but
you're talking about that in there.
Even when I just pulled it off, and I was like, yeah, this seems like too much force to have to apply.
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, I'm gonna break it because I. Good thing I bought two.
We were talking, I was like,
it's never coming out again. No one's ever going to be using that accessory.
Nope, it's gonna.
It'd be like the weapons locker. Weapons locker on the Razor Crest, which no one touches.
I only had to open it because I didn't put in that piece before I put the tail on. I was like, oh, I can't have it without the. Oh, stupid. Why did I do that? I would have never known how difficult it was to take off until.
Speaking of accessories, I really love all the little clips they have for Mando's gear back there behind him. Yeah, that's a really cool way to do it because some vehicles they have space for that, some they just don't. But
so it's not like rattling in there; it's all like nicely popped in.
And just sitting off to the side.
There's space for the spear as well, isn't there? Although it doesn't come with it, you can actually put the spear in it as well.
Yeah, because I didn't open the carded Mando figure yet, but it's slightly different. It's got different gauntlets than the other ones, or it's like the best parts of the best Mando figures.
Yes. It's the best
But,
existing Mando figure, basically.
Yeah.
At least from seasons 2 and 3, right?
Yeah. So I have the I just put the rescue one in there because it's got the soft goods cape and everything. And I put the spear from it in there, and it kind of like just slots in there. It's pretty nice. Wanted to go back to Toys of the Way up here. Said Tyler, heads up, popping that cruiser Luke is really challenging. Torso was a disaster to take apart. So
Yeah, I saw that. I'm definitely gonna have to get a spare, and if he dies, he dies.
that'll make it easy for you. Yeah, I love this vehicle though. I know it's just awesome. I love the stand that it's on with the ability to pose it in all kinds of different ways, and the smaller stand. So we need Pelimato, but so you can have Pelimato doing it, and the droid thing. I know I had put Chopper's head in there. It was awesome to see. A lot of build droid stuff. You gotta have Chopper in there. Yep. Next, just cruising on through. We also got moving on to some less Book of Boba Fett related stuff, but still in the Jabba's world is the Jabba's Court Denizens 4-pack with some folks. Velkin Tizari was on my top 25. He was on a lot of people's top 25.
This is what the crowd's going wild for.
He was on mine. He was on mine. I mean, as much as sort of insignificant as he is significant in finishing that barge, isn't he? And that skiff, sorry. And so it's great that we've now got that skiff completed. And on to the next one.
And I just want to shout out two people in particular. Obviously, we've got John Miko for Velkin, right? I grabbed the right guy, right? Yeah. Here we go. Velkin.
Who is this?
Well, they look they look a little similar, but and then Tim from Boss Bounty, one of his biggest wants, one of his top wants was Squidhead.
Yeah.
Tessic, whatever you want to call
And
it.
I would say Chris in the chat,
soft
Toys of the Jedi, he's been going on about Tam for years as well. So good for you, Chris. I'm glad you got one of the figures you wanted.
When I rewatched Return of the Jedi a few months ago, just the scene, it's like two shots where Tame pops up out of nowhere, and then Luke has his hand randomly up for some reason, and then he shoots it. You see this guy in like two shots. He shoots and then he gets killed, and now there's a figure of him 40 years later. So
with nicer articulation than Luke.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So as we say, maybe they're not the most thrilling character designs in and of themselves, but what they represent is very cool to finally have some of these character things that interact with characters and finishing scenes, teams, and themes, which
both of these
we want them to finish every scene.
Are debut characters never before made, right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
Pretty freaking cool.
And they're definitive. It's not they've put swivel hips on them. I know we've talked about this before. Does every figure need to have, rocker ankles? But I actually opened those up and I was so pleased that the level of articulation they have there on those is, mind blowing, really, for a figure of that, third background character. I don't even know what you call it.
I feel like, obviously the figures have evolved over the decades and years. And like back when, the super articulated clone trooper came out in 2000 and whatever it was, the early 2000s, right? I think a lot of us were like, it's never going to get better than this. This is just the epitome of figures. And now, we have figures like this that are even better than that. But the great thing about the figures that are coming out now, they're so articulated and the photoreal is so good that I think even as figures continue to get better and better, these figures will hold up for the next, maybe forever, honestly.
Yeah.
It
feels like years ago. It feels like 10 years ago, if you'd have said, look at this Vader we've got, most of us would have said, oh, this is the best Vader, it's great. Figures don't get better than this. And now you move on to what we've got now. But generally, when you look at the new Vaders we've had out, you can't see how they could possibly get better than those. Figures just have peaked, haven't they? Yeah. They're all incredible.
And we've said before about the reuse in this set, but the fact that they use Cassian's legs, and I know Velkin has new lower legs, but even because Tame shares the arms from the Nikto guard Lave, unnamed Nikto guard on the card. But it's just they don't feel, like I don't know. I mean, they are reuse, but they feel new and unique in and of themselves, you know, because there's enough newness to, you know, still feel exciting and fresh.
Absolutely.
So my only complaint is that I can't get Velkin's headpiece keeps riding up, and his like eyes are always at the bottom of this thing because I can't get it to point down all the way.
So I had to
wiggle his
take
eyes around a little bit.
his helmet / headdress piece off completely, and then like
Yeah.
fix his head to be in like a straight on neutral place, and then put it back on so that, because if you try to manipulate him with like his nose or whatever, you might scratch his face. So,
Yeah.
So my suggestion is just, and it doesn't come off very easily either, but you gotta pop that whole headpiece off, or his helmet, for lack of a better word. And
True.
If his head is like cocked off to the side, you gotta fix it.
I just saw one of the comments about how the eBay prices are high. I didn't realize it was sold out on Pulse yet. I ordered 4. I only got 2 of them so far, and I haven't heard anything on my second order of them.
Weird.
Does it say processing, or does it say anything?
No, it just says pre-ordered.
Weird.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing another run, but yeah, they sold out over here pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know what sort of numbers, you know, Pulse UK deal with, but yeah, they went, I think, within the sort of few days, you know, a few days of them going up. I know it took longer over there, didn't it, for them to sell through, but I don't know, perhaps if they have still got orders to process, they need to do another run.
Yeah, I know the Skiff Guard 3-pack from a couple years ago it sold well, and then they did another run, and then I think they had too many.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, you end up sitting around too long then.
Real quick, I remember when Tim was reviewing these figures, he looked at the back of Tessik's head, and he was like, "That's disgusting."
Yeah, comment there.
I died laughing when I was listening to that.
On this guy.
Oh God.
I do. Yeah, Tessik is probably the star of the set for me, even though, you know, it's nice to finally have Velkin and Tame, and the Power of the Jedi Tessik, I think, was a very good sculpt, but this guy, he's just great. And again, using the cowl legs, which you would never notice unless you were looking for that sort of thing. It's great. And yeah, poor Reese. He's fine. Nobody wants him. Nobody loves him.
He does everything you need him to do.
Yes. And yeah, it was cool to still get, I mean, even though we got this guy a few years ago, it was cool to get 2 Sail Barge original 96 cards in the set, because both Tessik and Reese are on the barge on the cards.
Yeah.
So
now Lewis will have somewhere to put them. So
yes.
He's got to find somewhere to put the barge.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Small details.
Worst problems to have, but
I bought 2 packs, so I'm leaving one pack of them completely boxed up. That's just what I typically do. And I'm hoping that the cards inside are good, but it's like Schrodinger's cat. Are they good or are they bad? We'll never know, because I'm not going to open it. So
if it looks good from outside the box, it's good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So another boxed multi-pack, if we're ready to go into that one, is the Obi-Wan Kenobi Showdown 2-pack, which Carlo got it, but he was going to be here, but he's not here. But that's all right. We love you, Carlo. Come back, for the love of God.
Well, we've got Chewy, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
Chewy, do you have the
same?
2-pack? Yeah, so he got it through some random eBay guy, and I know Deep Discount was maybe sending some out, but I feel like I get a virus in my body and on my computer every time I use that website, so I'd rather not.
Yeah, I got blocked from Instagram the day I bought something from Deep Discount. They're probably not related incidents, but
that's what you get. You clearance vulture. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
because it's but they're also on Big Bad Toy Store, and I think Toys Are the Way got them today. I forget. Sorry, who exactly got them. A few people have gotten them and been posting them. The Jedi Collector posted some great shots of them on Instagram.
I'm just green with envy.
So you ordered it from BBTS, right?
Yes, I did, and it shipped like the day that it shipped like an hour after I placed the order.
Okay.
But by shipped, that is DHL has a label created, so that could be, I could see them in 3 days. I could see them when the Earth is gone. I don't know. So yeah,
is DHL the one that uses like those unmarked white vans to get stuff to you?
They all do at this point.
Instead
but
of,
yeah,
I guess so, yeah.
I don't know, man.
I just
Yeah.
can't believe you guys are getting them before we are. I mean, what's going on
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
The world is
the
topsy-turvy.
jury's out. I might still get mine after
Well,
you,
true,
Lewis. So.
true.
But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
we've
the
got a
big,
couple of weeks. I think I remember the date correctly.
Yeah, I am so envious of all of you who have it out there. That's the thing I'm looking forward to the most this year. So
and it looks great from the photos we've seen.
it does. It does.
The photos did reveal to us that Vader's card now says Duels End, which we all made fun of because we were so high and mighty, assuming it would never come to TVC. Because when it was solicited, the press photo said Showdown, and then the in-hand shots say Duels End. So now if you go on Hasbro Pulse, they have two sets of the carded image and boxed images. So half of them say Showdown, half of them say Duels End. Is there a running change, or did they just do that before they actually produced it? I do not know. I guess that's something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, it made more sense. Showdown made more sense to me, where they both are labeled Showdown and they go together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the figures themselves, everybody was so worried. Does it have the slash in the back of the cape? Yes, for the love of God, it has the slash in the back of the cape. But
not on the back of the torso.
Right, but maybe Obi-Wan only just cut him right on the cape. It only got to the cape.
That's how I was. That was my first thought too. So thanks, John.
We got to look for the happy beep sometimes.
guess
Folks.
Does the Black
guess it would
Series one
need new
have an
tooling.
actually? Yeah. Does it have? Well, it does have new tooling. The torso does.
What
have
on
new
the
tooling.
torso? Oh, I guess, yeah.
Because
yeah,
of the
it does.
chest. The
It has
chest
got a
box
different
is
chest,
all batched up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his shoulders are a different construction
Yeah.
this time. So there's some level of new tooling on his torso.
Yeah.
I keep hearing about that. Yeah.
But yeah, so another thing that's starting to come out slowly, should be of no surprise that Tyler spent about $6,000 on a Thrawn from a guy on eBay because it was the first opportunity. Maybe not quite that much money.
Twice actually. The first time the guy said that they would ship like pretty much now, and he lied to me. And then the second guy, well, because he marked it as shipped, and I asked him like, "Wow, you really shipped it out?" And he was like, "No," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, what? And then the second guy that I ordered it from, it's actually really on its way, and it should be here by the end of the week. So I'm super stoked.
Nice.
And I paid way too much money for it, but I'm very impatient. So
I get it.
Yeah.
I normally don't do that. I'm normally like, it gets here when it gets here, whatever. But not this time.
I was playing that game for a while, as Evan knows. I was pre-ordering from 3 different places, back when Dorkside was a thing and Entertainment Earth. And then you have 5 of the same figure. I only wanted 1 or 2. And it was like, oh my God, what have I done? And then I got to figure out how to sell it. You got to figure out how to get rid of it, give it to a friend that doesn't really want it. It's a whole thing. So I'm just like, now I'm just like, all right, I got to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did it with
stuff I don't need. I just put it in a box somewhere and think, yeah, one day that will be handy. I don't know. It does pay off sometimes, because sometimes all of a sudden on a new show you're watching, you'll get a character pop up and you'll be like, I've got a spare one of those. And then you have to go rummaging through all your stuff. But yeah, rather than having to go out and buy another one.
That's fair. Yeah. As for the Thrawn wave, I guess BBTS has also started to ship some pre-orders of the Grand Inquisitor. This is going to be a great wave. A lot of Ahsoka goodness. A lot of bad guys is on the next few waves, which is something we've been asking for a while.
Yeah.
And as Evan said, you're on the GameStop beat here.
Hey man, they treated me well with Sabine. I was beyond happy about that. So they've stayed pretty true to their release dates the past couple months. They had a bunch of stuff that was like end of September and whatnot. And so the Thrawn wave is the 25th, I think, is the date that they have for it. As long with is it Deluxe Chrysanthemum as well? I think is also that same week.
Okay.
So yeah,
kind of forgot about him because we already have the open mouth one with more accessories, but
yeah,
that's all right. But so speaking of Sabine, are you the only one that's got it in hand? Lewis, you have it too, right?
Oh, Sabine. No, yeah, I got Sabine some while back actually. Yeah, again.
Right.
Okay.
A stream.
I can't remember. I think we spoke about it when we were on the last live stream.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of just switch off from that. But yeah, great figure, great figure. But helmet issues aside, but yeah, it's a great figure.
Yeah. I absolutely adore this figure. Maybe that is helped by the fact that it's the only Ahsoka figure I have in hand, and I got it before the final 2 episodes aired like the day of episode 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the helmet is horrible, and things like that shouldn't happen when you have a $30 price tag for one of these figures. But that helmet aside, this figure is incredible. I hope we get a maybe less accessory version of Sabine now that the sculpt is paid for. We can get a regular carded version of her. I know we're getting the Rebels one, which will be nice. I assume it'll have some of this tooling. I don't know. I don't listen to this show or anything you say, John. So
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you know what?
But yeah,
Should be
great
good.
figure.
I mean, I would say it is great that in the show she didn't wear that helmet too much
Yeah.
at all, really. So
Yeah.
you kind of think, okay, we can just put it in an accessory box somewhere, and she still stands well on her own, in a display, whatever. So I think we've got away with that one just about.
Yeah.
When the Death Trooper pulls it off her head at the end, I was like, he thought it was too big too. But
He's on
she
our
is.
side.
So she is shipping from GameStop, which is how you got yours, Evan, right? And then she's also shipping from BBTS. Again, they seem to have a lot right now. And as we mentioned, she's been available at the Disney parks, and she is now preparing to ship from Hasbro Pulse and Amazon. And in terms of Pulse, it's always like, we're preparing to ship. 5 days later, we charged you. 5 days after that, okay, we shipped it, which really just means they created the label. Then 5 days later, she ships. So it can be a little bit still.
Yeah.
But she is on her way. So speaking of the Ahsoka series, we spent half an hour on mail call. That's about what I was expecting. We're right on time, folks. What do you guys think of the show? The show's over. Hopefully, if you don't want spoilers, just go watch the series real quick. Come back, pause your YouTube. But
I was happy
what did
with
you guys
it.
think of the show?
I liked it.
You've been waiting for Thrawn forever.
Yes, we got a lot more Thrawn than I was expecting. So I was obviously very thrilled about that. And I was not necessarily completely sold that he should be the live action actor. I knew that everybody wanted him for his voice, and I didn't disagree with that, but I wasn't sure that he was going to be the right actor for the physical person. But I think he sold it really well. I think Lars did a great job. I think he did a fantastic job. Overall, the show, I loved it. I thought it was great. There were some things in the final episode that were a little bit convenient, like all the turbo
That's
lasers
Star
missing, or they get the ship fixed just in time, or
You got to do that.
Sabine figures out how to use the Force, and 5 seconds later she can push Ezra all the way up on the Star Destroyer. Like, okay, but for the most part, I loved it, and it was great.
So a lot of people didn't watch The Matrix, and it shows. All you have to do is believe, and once you believe, you are capable of anything.
She had to stop being sad that all her family died, and then immediately it's fine. No, but maybe they could have teased that storyline out a little bit, but I thought it was. I love the whole thing. I know, everybody's got notes on this and that, but I thought overall it was great. I thought the introduction of all the animated characters into live action, I thought everybody did a great job.
Yeah.
Ezra was perfect at the end. I loved Hera throughout, and Sabine, and obviously Ahsoka. But and I said before, I love the fact that Dave took all the weirdest. I love all the weird stuff. He took the weirdest stuff from Clone Wars and Rebels, and he was just like, "All right, live action Mandalorian people, here you go." And they were just like, "Oh, we're along for the ride. Here's Purrgil. Here's the World Between Worlds. Here's Mortis stuff at the end." Obviously, my boy Huyang will be a lot more on Huyang later, but
I loved Hera in the series. She's such a savage. I just love it.
Yeah,
could
he had a lot more?
Awesome.
I thought all the parts were played really well. I mean, you kind of worried with the translation sometimes from the animated to the live action, and I'll be honest, I thought everyone nailed it. Nailed the parts they were playing at least. And again, I'm with you, Tyler. I was a little bit dubious about Thrawn. We know he does the voice. Would he translate well? And I think he nailed it. And I think actually having the voice actor helped, because I think straight away from that first moment, you knew it was Thrawn. So I loved the show. I think it was
from
great.
The very first line. You were like,
yeah,
he's got it.
Whereas it may have been more jarring if it had been a different actor. You may have found that didn't quite, for those of us that know him from Rebels anyway. Perhaps from someone who hasn't seen Rebels, it wouldn't have mattered. But no, I think definitely it worked better.
It's hard to dub voiceovers, so it would have been a little tricky, and some people might have noticed some weird mouth movements not matching up or whatever. So it was good.
Yeah.
he demonstrated that it was more than just a voice. It's a presence, man. Thrawn's a vibe.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
One thing I noticed is that when he's speaking, he hardly ever shows any expression. It's really just his mouth moving, and it's very like kind of unsettling.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I think that he played it really well. Really well.
And then when he does show emotion at the end, when the rebels are doing well, they're doing better than he expected, and you can see just like a little flash of, as the Timothy Zahn would say, his lip twisting. He loves those lip twisting. But you just see a little bit of expression on his face, and you're like, oh, he's not. Oh, this is not going to go well for them.
He's a little stressed out right now.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. One of the comments Nick Reddock up there posted. Evan, if you want to bring that up, that the last, not the most recent one, but the one right before it. But some people said, yeah, maybe it should have been 12 episodes. But then I also saw other people saying, some of the early stuff felt too slow, so it should have just been a movie. You could have done all this in a movie. And so it's like, I don't think they're ever going to please everyone, I guess. But I felt like with, not to always praise one thing like crap and another or anything, but like in Mando season 3, there was a lot of plot, and I was like, I would have liked to spend more time with the characters and like know how they feel about it. And so I think this hit a good balance of, sitting with the characters. Obviously, I want to learn more about Ahsoka and Sabine's history. I want to learn, obviously, a lot more about Balin and Shin and where he came from and what their goals are.
Yep.
And I would love to see like a Tales of the Jedi about some of these master and apprentice relationships. I think that'd be a fun way to explore that stuff.
Fatmatic here was talking about Morgan Elsbeth. I agree. She was cool and a very compelling character throughout the series, in my opinion. But I was kind of surprised that she got dispatched, so to speak, at the end of the show. Spoilers. I know
they said she's dead, but could she come back? I don't know. She did get sliced, didn't
she?
But,
somehow.
Again, they've just risen a load of other, stormtroopers from the dead.
But then Thrawn bombarded the whole fortress and turned it into rubble. So she's probably dead.
Still,
people have come back from worse. People have been cut in half, and
that's true.
Blown up on the Death Star.
It was a little bit tragic for her because we the audience viewing, we know the story of how the Night Sisters were wiped out, and it was actually Palpatine, and Thrawn, in service to the Empire, is one of Palpatine's I don't want to say henchmen, but followers, so to speak. Apostles, is that the right word? I don't know.
Supporters, I don't know.
Yeah. But she doesn't appear to know that, and so she wants to do everything she can to restart sort of the Night Sisters, I think.
Well, she says too, like at the end, like for Dathomir, when he says,
for the
Empire, and then she's like,
so,
for Dathomir. So I think,
I think all those crates that they're loading onto the Star Destroyer are either dead or sleeping Night Sisters that are going to be reanimated. I think they went to Dathomir to sort of restart the Dathomiri people, basically, to restart the civilization. That's what it seems like to me, anyway.
Yeah, maybe. And it was interesting because Ezra said that like Thrawn woke up the 3 Night Sisters. So like I don't know if I don't know what that means exactly, but I'd like to know more about that.
It's just tragic for her because she went through all this effort to bring Thrawn back, right? Like she was putting all the resources together for the Eye of Sion, and she got the map, and she did all these things to coordinate. She traveled across to another galaxy, which is extremely difficult, apparently, and now she's gone. It's like
Thrawn was like, "Yep, see you later."
Yeah, right. And the second she had the most awesome action scene of the show, one of the most awesome action scenes of the show.
That was my favorite fight scene of the whole show.
It was awesome.
It was. I was like, "What? Yeah, that's."
I could not believe what I was seeing. Yeah.
Do we think that scene was kind of one of these "we saw it when you saw it" kind of things? Because obviously the action figure, we know we haven't got any accessories with it at all.
Right.
And you kind of have to think, did Hasbro know about this? Did Hasbro see any of these images of the Night Sister version? With the sword as well. I mean, it seems. Bad timing again.
Yeah,
I sort of wonder. No, I sort of wonder if Lucasfilm was like, I know she just kind of stands around a lot for most of the series, but trust me, she's going to have an awesome action scene against the main character in the finale or something like that. And then because there was that thing where we saw that the solicitation said that she had an accessory, and I think one of them might have clarified that it was a staff or something, but it did feel a little bit like, should we have waited a little bit to get a version with an alternate head and the blade of Talzin? But I was very excited, not excited, but I was like, oh, thank God she didn't get a costume change. She got a deco change on her face and a new accessory, so they could easily. I'm going to ask about wants in a minute, but yeah, that'd be such an easy repaint with a new accessory.
That was such a big sigh of relief when the transformation started, and I was like, oh, but her costume's gonna no, it's the same. Okay, we're a repaint away. We could actually maybe get this figure sometime.
A repaint and a sword.
Yeah.
A bendy sword, probably.
Yeah.
But so
don't you
speaking
even
of
start. Real quick, can you highlight Finn's comment?
Oh, yeah.
I was actually thinking about this, and I totally agree. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah.
Now that we don't have a rook,
what's going to happen.
Thanks a lot, Zeb.
That's infinitely more interesting than the no greed. No offense, Legends fans. No offense. I like
I think they're both good stories, but but
you could do
the
more with
theme
the
here is that there's betrayal in both of those stories. So
yeah.
And it's interesting, the thread throughout all of Star Wars is the bad guys, they can't, even if they might have a similar goal, there's always infighting. They're never going to be able to work together. So I think, the Night Sisters want what they want. Thrawn wants what he wants. Balin wants what he wants, whatever that is. Poor Shin, she's just all alone with the bandits. But whereas the rebels have to put their differences aside and come together.
it's interesting. I wondered how Thrawn was going to bend Force users to his will without the, Ysalamiri Force repelling creatures. But now they've been taken off the board and they're just stuck on Peridia, so he doesn't have to worry about them anymore.
Yeah.
But he does have the witches, I guess. So yeah, I don't know.
And Ezra's back anyway, but
yeah.
If we want to talk about some of the figure coverage from the show, I know Evan has a graphic that he made, not to get too depressing, but so yeah, the number. So Black Series has some stuff in hand already, more than Vintage Collection does, which is unfortunate.
I just saw that wave at Walmart today.
Okay, and then somebody got like the Huyang wave, but that's still not like very widespread yet. But it'll probably be a month or so before Vintage gets the Morgan and Thrawn wave. But I don't know. A lot of people are upset about this, especially after PulseCon. That of course. The big missing ones are Balin, Shin, and Merrick to maybe a lesser degree, but it would be nice to have all of those guys. But having said that, that's obvious. We want Balin, we want Shin, we want Merrick, and those are. I hope they pipeline them before March Madness because I don't want to have to. They're going to be the top three. I don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah,
but
they're going to
be.
Yeah, Balin's going to do pretty hot, I think, in March Madness.
Yeah, for sure. We need a cool new old man after Luthen last year, but
and Dooku,
yeah. So now we got Dooku off the board at least, thank God.
Yeah.
But so I'll get my positivity out, then we can get on the downsides. But the number of new sculpts is about the same between Vintage and Black Series. The unfortunate thing about the perpetual state of catch up that Vintage is in is that there wasn't already an existing Chopper. There wasn't already an existing HK-87 because Black Series did that one earlier this year, and they did Chopper 6 years ago. So they just repacked the Rebels one in a different box for some reason. But so yeah, well, the number of sculpts is the same. TVC still is not there in terms of, again, the villains. Even though we are getting more villains overall, we're still missing the main villains from this show, which is annoying and unfortunate, and something that we need to stay on them about for sure. But overall, I am happy with the number of figures that we are getting from this show, and so far, again, and I think there's a lot they can still do with these ones. Happier, yes. I'm never satisfied.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think when you look at this lineup compared to the Obi-Wan and Andor, we are in a much better position with this than we have been with those ones. So yeah, that's a plus.
Sure. Oh wow, you already got these ready to go.
Yeah, they need to be fixed and formatted up, but it's just while we're on the Ahsoka one, I look at this and I think this is progress. This is good. I like this. This is not what I'm upset about.
Right.
You know, of course, those red X's in
It
the
could be
TVC
better.
column,
Yeah.
that would be a huge thing, but I'm glad it's as close as it is. The main frustration is mostly, you know, look at something in retro should never be in retro and not TVC, in my opinion. But we have our ghosts and all that fun stuff. But you know, this is where my issue is looking at this, the kind of thing, and looking at this. Where
That's
yeah.
perhaps the worst one currently, obviously.
that is a kick to the face. That is.
Wait, do you
that-
have both season 1 and season 2?
Yeah, they're
Oh,
both
two.
on here right now, so
Okay.
I can make it look less bad, but
No, yeah, that's bad. That's pretty bad.
it's pretty grim in it. So yeah.
Wait, go back to the Obi-Wan though. I want to see that.
Sorry for the barking dogs in the background, by the way.
Mine doesn't bark. He just crawls all on top of me.
Yeah. So the Obi-Wan one, this one hurts. So.
However, the silver lining again is that we are getting this month. We'll be getting 3 new Obi-Wan figures, which we did not have previously: the Grand Inquisitor and the Showdown versions of Obi-Wan and Vader. As you mentioned, you bring up Leia on here, and we've talked before about how was there some likeness issue or something, but I noticed that Iron Studios did a version of her with Obi-Wan, a statue last year. It was revealed last December, and it's still not available until sometime in the next 3 months. So maybe they'll have her in the line at some point, but yeah. So I don't know.
There was a Funko Pop, but I mean, you don't really need license for the likeness on that. So
right. Thank God we have
that's a big oversight, though. That's like it feels like there's a character from each of these properties that just doesn't exist wholesale, and it's like, what? Why are we doing that? But
yeah. But so yes, there's still so much, and then so yeah, the thing with the catch up is do we want them to catch up, or do we want them to just ignore everything and focus on only the new? Because there was those years where TVC didn't exist, unfortunately, where the Black Series did a lot of stuff like the Rebels characters, at least starting them, and then yeah, I don't know. It's not a great position to be in.
No, because I mean,
especially with
you look at the Bad Batch one. It's like if we want them to do that, each one of those would have to come at the expense of something relevant at the time.
Well, the thing with the Bad Batch anyway is that they only need I say 4 or 5 newly sculpted figures, and then which is a lot to ask for apparently.
Oh, not for Black Series though.
And then for vintage, and then they'll repaint them. They'll do slightly new tooling for the season 2 versions, and that's how they're able to get those all out. But
ignore the retro column on this graphic. I was going to replace it with Mission Fleet since even Mission Fleet got the Bad Batch. But,
as Toys of the Jedi pointed out, though, yeah, they haven't got Hauser or Ballast.
I could have put him. I could have put him on here as both, and it would have been great. But yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So
that's hard to look at.
But yes, terrible, awful. Ahsoka is a step in the right direction. It's something we have been asking for them to do, and I think that's something that needs to be said.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
We can cry all day about Bad Batch, and I will, and I do, and I do all day, every day.
Yeah. The Obi-Wan one,
I'm glad.
That hurts. That sucks for me personally. But yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, we want Balin, Shin, and Merrick. We want a lot of the stuff in the second half of the season. We're going to go around a little bit. Other than everything, what else do we want to see from Ahsoka? Can we all pick one item? Let's just go around.
So, Aqualish Doug asked to have us list our top 3 from Ahsoka.
Top 3?
Instead of our top 20, I think he said.
I'll give you 3. I'll give you 3.
Okay. Three's good. 3's good.
All right.
There's so much to choose.
Evan, go first.
I'm Balin, obviously. Does that count, or are we going outside the 3 villains?
Balin,
go
Shin,
for those,
and
then we'll go outside.
Anything? Let's say
yeah.
Let's say anything newly tooled from Ahsoka.
Imperial gunship, or is that what they are?
Yeah, absolutely.
The troop ship.
Well, I certainly want that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were talking about vehicles.
I mean, you said anything.
Items in general.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine.
Yeah.
Well, that changes things.
Ezra of course, with his lightsaber. We've seen it. Make the accessory, put it in. Don't say it's based on the first time he shows up, and don't worry about later in the season. Let's see. Anakin, Anakin. Want number one, Anakin. Force Ghost, whatever. Revenge of the Sith. Make all the versions from there. But Anakin, want number one. Boom.
Okay, John.
Well, yeah, definitely the Imperial gunship was going to be one. 3 might be too many because there are some very easy repaints. I can do it after the that I would like to point out if we want to get to those after the all new stuff. But
well, I just want to say too, yeah, Anakin, all new. I know we already have Anakins, and that's not always exciting, but
right,
all new, please.
He didn't do much in the series, but I would like Captain Enoch. I know they can use some parts from the Stormtrooper, but hopefully he'll do more going forward. But we always got to have the cool Star Wars villains that don't do anything.
I think that would be a mostly new tool, except for like his torso. I think he's got a standard Stormtrooper torso, but other than that,
even the torso, the back has different details. I'm pretty sure, which I thought was interesting.
Okay,
but there's one.
Okay,
we've already named everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noti and the Noti. I want a full tribe.
I knew you were going to say Noti. I was waiting.
The crab people. Yes.
10 individually sculpted with their different little Hobbit outfits.
I want that so bad. And I want a howler.
The full vehicle.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, you can still go, John. Sorry, go on.
No, I have some in the repaint category that I'll get to.
Okay. Well, in terms of new, I as Evan said, I definitely want Baylan, but also Shin, and I would love to get her Starfighter. I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
Along with that, in terms of army builders, I'd really love to see Morgan Elsbeth's, troopers, scout troopers. They were on my top 25 list last year, just from the Corvus episode, The Mandalorian, because I think they look really cool. And now they've been in it again and again. It'd be great to see some of those as an army builders. I think they've actually got red helmets on some of these versions in Ahsoka, whereas they didn't in Mando. I might be wrong. They'd be cool as an army builder. I wouldn't mind a wolf. I can't think what they called them. What they called a howler? Was it a howler?
Yeah.
Just again, creature packs. We don't get enough of those, and give us another Sabine riding one, or again, give us Baylan and Shin riding them. That'd be cool.
Everyone rode them. Ahsoka rode them.
Yeah, they did actually. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, one of in the repaint category. If they do one howler, I think they're all kind of similar, so they could do various repaints if they wanted to. I'd like them to. And Sabine, because her, I think the price now they attribute it not so much to tooling, but to deco. Every time it's a different thing. God bless him. But so she has the poncho covering up most of her armor. So maybe there's a way that they can just have like a less deco version and just say, don't take the poncho off of this one. It's gonna be fine, guys. But to cover that
cost
up,
it out.
Cool.
The howler. Yeah.
I'd be fine with that because we already have the correct one. And then people brought up Clone Wars Anakin, and I know that in a perfect world we'd get a new Revenge of the Sith Anakin, then they do a Clone Wars version based on that.
That's what I would hope for. I'm setting myself up for disappointment, but that's my preferred.
If they re-release the Clone Wars Anakin, I want an all new head sculpt. I don't that head sculpt with the photo reel just did not work. I want an all new head sculpt.
Well, I think now, especially what they're doing on both Velkin and Tame, they both have separate hair pieces. Even for guys that have like shorter hair, I think they're doing that, which is a lot because like on that Anakin and that Obi-Wan, there's a lot of paint misapplication around their hair.
Yep.
So if they did Anakin, they could just do the long hair, swap it out for the shorter hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, I'm going to say here's my controversial statement number one.
Yeah,
I want a hologram Clone Wars Anakin, and I'm fine if they just re-release the old one with the hologram version.
Yeah, that'd be.
We're going to talk about that, right? About holograms.
Yeah. I'm just saying in terms of easy repaints for this show.
Easy gimmick reuse. Yeah, totally get that. But
as far as my wants, you basically covered it all. I still want Marok, even though he barely did anything. I want all the Inquisitors. I just want all of them. So give me all of them,
Yeah.
even the ones that died quickly. I want all of them. So I think the only one that's like kind of an unreasonable ask is the ninth sister, because she's ginormous.
Yeah.
She would have to be like some kind of
Yeah.
deluxe or something. But
Yeah. If the line was big
Deluxe.
enough and we could get deluxe figures, like
yeah,
lots of them. Yeah.
but I agree. I echo you guys about the Imperial shuttle. I think that should be the next like Boba's throne room priced thing that they can offer on Pulse, because it'll probably be too much for retail, too big or too much for retail to take.
You think like the
So
$200 price range?
I mean, maybe it could be less than that. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I'm thinking it's
dream.
probably going to be around there somewhere. Yeah,
I did notice when they're
I want 'em.
when
I'd
they're
be in
in
for
the
two.
yeah, when they're in the hangar, they're shorter than the TIE fighters. Does that do anything? I know the wings don't really matter at all, but yeah, because those have been used. The Imperial gunships, they were used in the Clone Wars as police gunships. They were used in Rebels. They were used in video games and all kinds of things. And even in this series, you see them earlier on Corellia.
Yeah.
In the New Republic color scheme. So,
and I definitely want
Yes.
Enoch as well, obviously, and of course, I want Balin and Shin. That goes without saying, obviously.
those are the
But,
top two, I think.
But I
Yeah.
do want my Enoch very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do want to ask. I know we've discussed it, but how should they approach the Night Troopers? Because they've all got, every single one has
Yeah.
unique stuff. I don't think they're going to sculpt up an entirely 4 different versions or something, but
It's tricky because for the actual armor that's like chipped and put back together with the gold and the red and the gray and all those different colors, I think that could be accomplished with just paint apps. I think
agree.
that it would be super expensive to do it though, and so I think that if they do it as like a trooper pack, those trooper packs are going to be at a price point that people are probably not going to love. But as far as the red like wrappings, I don't know how they can accomplish that without. If they just paint it on, is it going to look right? But if they don't paint it on, it's going to require new tooling. So
and how fragile will it be as well? I mean, if it was done as soft goods, it would just be too fragile. I don't think you'd be able to move them, articulate them properly. Plus, they'd have to be different. Yeah, I could see it more than likely being tooled on. But as you say, Tyler, then you end up with, like, it's like the Remnant. It was the problem we had with the Remnant Stormtrooper, wasn't it? You bought 4 of them and they all look the same because they've all got the same weathering, and it was always a bit disappointing.
They can't look the same. It's got to be in a trooper pack where there's at least 4 different variations or something like that.
And then you can swap heads and things like that. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, is like the variation. Maybe if you had 2 that were, at least most like new versions of 2 of each of the appendages, and then mix and match all of those across a couple different sculpts, and then with different different paint deco on each one, I think would make them all just different enough, even though they do have the exact same bandage wraps on certain parts on certain ones. I think
you can rotate them in a certain way.
Got enough.
Yeah. So I think they can get away with like 2. So
the advantage we've got is that we've got a decent tooling base to start that figure off. So okay, Hasbro may have to spend some money to get it right, but at least they're not starting from scratch. Hopefully not, anyway.
Yeah, it wouldn't likely have to be from the ground up, right? I'm not quite sure. Would they be able to work off the existing sculpt so would that save money?
Yeah.
It depends on which troopers, because some of them have wrappings on the legs too and everything. So
and the torso.
I know I said I'd never buy any more death troopers, and I was freaking done with it.
The zombie one?
I'm wrong. I want the zombie one.
Yeah, give me the one with the face sticking out. Oh,
give me those.
Yeah.
And have a hole through its head that you can put the lightsaber.
Well, they did it with a Dark Trooper, didn't they? So quite possibly.
Yeah.
That's true.
I gotta go grab my charger real quick. Sorry, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, while Tyler's out, maybe we can talk about the some Black Series gimmicks real quick. Because as we get into reveals, there was a whole lot of nothing at New York Toy Fair and Walmart Collector Con. But they did reveal the Holocom collection coming to the Black Series, and which always brings up the some reason controversial topic of hologram figures. I don't know. What's your guys' opinion on them in general? Is this something you'd like to see in vintage collection? Or
I like them. I've always quite liked them, but I do think they have to be figures or characters that we've seen in hologram form. I don't know. I haven't really looked at these Black Series ones or studied them, but are they ones that have actually been holograms, or have they just kind of taken any old figure and painted it blue?
It's
or,
it's that. So
yeah.
the thing
See,
with the
that's what I
hologram collection,
don't want.
the hologram collection is almost like a real world thing, where like you're looking at a bounty puck of like Han Solo,
Right.
Ahsoka,
Right.
Bo-Katan. These they're wanted, like you're a bounty hunter looking for them.
Right.
Which
Okay.
that's kind of
So
cool in
they've-
concept. But it's
Yeah, I mean, I think
characters that
from
didn't
us,
necessarily appear.
I mean, for a world building point of view, I'd rather see stuff that ties into something we've seen. So I mean, Mandalorian, there's a lot of, I think, different times when you're seeing people in holograms. So I think if you took those figures and used those, I wouldn't mind that. But I think if they start doing Chopper and I don't know, certain things we think really, then they're just abusing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at that wave of the Black Series ones, and it's like the one that makes the most sense would be a New Hope Leia, right? I mean, not maybe in the concept,
not in the way
it's
this
hologram
concept
and
is.
what that is. If only they hadn't used the bounty collection name on something else, because that would have been it would have explained what this is, because these are bounties on the pucks. But yeah, I don't know. My first thought was just with the holograms. I wasn't just thinking bounty holocom. It just, these are hologram figures, and what hologram do I associate with Star Wars? Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. So
I agree with Lewis. I think that it makes the most sense, at least initially, to do the ones that have appeared as holograms in the media. So like Moff Gideon has appeared as a hologram at least twice now, right? He did it when he was talking to Din Djarin. Well, actually 3 times. He was talking to the Imperial officer on the Gazanti, right? The Long Live the Empire scene. And then he talked to Din Djarin when he was, you have something I want and all that. And then the 3rd time was when he was talking to Elia Kane on Coruscant. So that's 3 times. So like, okay, if you're gonna make hologram figures, then make characters who have appeared as holograms. That just seems common sense to me, rather than just picking like Axe Woes. What? Like what? It's just, if you're gonna make an expression like that, then it has to make sense. And that's the problem with Hasbro, is that they do things just to do them sometimes, and I'm like, but why? Like, I don't know. I love you guys, Hasbro, but just make better choices sometimes.
It is a strange thing.
John, you love these things though. Would you?
I love
the ones that aren't in the series. Like.
Well, I love clear figures. I love any kind of crazy, just something about the plastic that they use, just as a physical object, as a toy. I think it's right up there with, this guy is literally clear and glow in the dark. Can you get any better than that? I don't think so, folks. But it's a fun way to add stuff in every now and then. I wouldn't want a whole wave or a whole sub collection of just holograms. But back in the day, like when they would need a repaint wave, they would stick in a Count Dooku hologram, or the Darth Sidious hologram is one of my favorite figures from the episode 1 line, because he appears as a hologram for much of that movie, and like it makes sense to put in the world of the other figures. So because I do see some comments about people getting down on hologram figures, maybe in general, not just this wave of Black Series, but I've always been a fan of them, and like it's a way that they communicate in the Star Wars galaxy. So if you don't like it, don't buy it. But
I think as far as gimmicky repaints or re-releases go, I think if they do it right, it can make a lot of sense, and I would be willing to purchase ones that make sense, but I'm not going to purchase ones that don't make sense.
I think Mando, and they've done Vader and Leia before, but I'd buy them again on the newer bodies and stuff. In Ahsoka, there was so much hologram communication. Anakin, Ahsoka, Sabine, everybody appeared as a hologram, and even Thrawn on the Eye of Sion had cool like green holograms. And I was like, I would take those. I would take all of them, but maybe that's just me. I don't know.
There's one that I'm thinking of that I don't know if I should say it, because I can hear just how angry everyone would be at the mere thought of it. But if they did a Black Series holocom figure of Snoke that I could put with my Force Awakens Kylo, since Snoke was all huge in Force Awakens, his hologram.
They'd have to make him really big, like a jumbo figure or something.
Well, that's why
the Black Series.
But if it was a Black, if it was a Black Series, HasLab. HasLab, 18 inches tall.
Big men.
Giant.
Boy. I'm sorry for putting that into the world. I don't feel good about that.
That'll be the next tier for Giant Man. Maybe he'll actually pass if they get the Snoke robe.
Golden cloak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, yeah, I would like a hologram of a character that appeared as a hologram for the entirety of the first movie they were in. So yeah.
Because I think there hasn't been the last 3 3/4 one was the Maz Kanata figure in the 5 POA Force Link pack, right? Was that it?
Yeah, that was one of the
That
last.
was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I don't know, but I like him. So there's my little hologram bit. So anyway, from Holocom to PulseCon. Should we get into the PulseCon reveals finally? We got about an hour, a little bit less than an hour left.
Yeah, let's.
Yep. Cue us up
hit
with
it.
the first one, John. Which one do you want?
First up is Director Krennic. So he was pipelined earlier this year. We knew he was coming, but just a few points, then we'll get into opinions. This is the first photoreal Krennic in any scale. His body is also available in the upcoming Imperial Officers 4-pack with this specific rank badge and code cylinders. And one thing that people were wondering about, but he does indeed have a plastic cape, which I know some people wanted soft goods, but because of the way that it connects on his shoulders, I don't know how they would have done that. Like they did the Lando figure, had his that weird rope thing that they did, and Luke had that also for the Last Jedi version, and I don't really like that.
Yeah.
But so just because of this specific thing, I
well, if it's the same
I like
plastic
this.
that they make the rifles out of, we're fine.
And even if
Well,
it's
I mean-
not, we've got a 5 POA one we can use.
Yeah.
No, but
yeah,
I mean, it will be restrictive. That's the thing. I know we talked about Cad Bane earlier, and with Cad Bane, one of my biggest concerns was that it was going to really, hinder his movement. And actually, I think that they've done that really well. That coat, in that he can still kneel down, doesn't affect him at all. But it is shorter, and when you look at this, you're going to struggle to get him in action poses. I think wearing that. That's what worries me the
Yeah.
most.
or if you have his arms pointing the gun, it's just going to pop off.
It's going to come off. Yeah, and
so
yeah.
go ahead, Lewis. My bad. Sorry.
No, I was going to say I'm not a big fan massively of the Gideon cloak that came with the rescue set, but since you did your little ironing video, Tyler, I was a bit more sold on it, because it from behind it literally looks like someone's just cut a piece of material out and slapped it on the back. I mean, it looks terrible from the back.
It does.
And
it looks like someone just like taped a piece of paper to his back.
like a bad custom. It looks like a bad custom, but
Yes,
and I
but
think
if you
when-
put some nice creases in it to make it
and that's
drape
what,
around it a little better.
I think with Lando, they put a little stitch in a few places, didn't they? Just to give him a bit of shape. And I think that's what that's missing.
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
was always kind of worried with this, that if we got the soft goods, it might just be a white version of that one that Gideon's got anyway. So I'm torn with this to whether it's better or worse. But I don't know, see him like that without the cape, sorry, and he looks fine. So perhaps we'll just display him with it off.
I'm trying to see if
Yeah.
so I'm conflicted on this figure because it's one that I've wanted for a very long time, and on one hand, I am so grateful and thankful that we finally have Director Krennic, a definitive Director Krennic in line, a super articulated, Director Krennic. It's long overdue. It's been 7 years, so I'm very happy about that. But there's 3 nitpicks that I have. I think, as far as the cape goes, when you look at Krennic, he's got sort of like a collar on his cape. I don't think they could have accomplished that with soft goods, and that's why they didn't do it.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to make it faithful to how it looks in the movie, and I don't think they really could have done that with soft goods. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, the prototype or the promo images here, they have his hair a little bit too brown. I think it needs to be more gray or silver. So I'm hoping that does not reflect the final product. And then the third thing is the card back image. It just seemed like they just picked any random still of. I just feel like there were better images that they could have picked of Krennic. I don't know. It just
weirdly, I kind of like this image.
I kind of do too, because like the one that I did for the concept a long time ago on my page, it was the one from the trailer, which is not in the actual movie. And then I don't know if maybe they were,
which is a
like, we don't
cooler
wanna
shot,
use-
but yeah.
I mean, and not that this isn't like a direct still from the movie either, but it's it's a scene that was represented in the movie. And it's interesting. Like I know on the Gregory Titus artists Instagram page who does the Black Series stuff, he'll do some of the behind the scenes commentary of like they had to look more determined. So I wonder if like the shot that I used for Krennic, like he's looking down. They probably didn't want him looking down. They probably wanted him holding the gun. They probably wanted him looking triumphant. So I can see some of the thought process maybe that went into picking this photo, even if there were maybe other cooler choices overall. But
it's not bad. It's just
yeah,
I don't think that one would have necessarily come to mind if I was picking an image. But as far as the cape looks, when I look at the cape in that bubble, it does not look like it's the same mold as the one that came with the 5 feet away one. It looks like a different cape.
I've definitely shaped it.
So that's kind of interesting that we'll have 2 different options at least.
Is Krennic a lefty?
Yes.
In the card, he's holding the gun with his left hand. They're having he's
yeah.
holding it left hand here.
Is,
I was just looking at the shape of the cloak because it looks like they flared out the right side for him to make gestures with his right arm, but the left side is more static, straighter cape.
Yep.
Whoopsie doops.
And then the other thing is I kind of wish that he had come with his black Imperial kepi, isn't that what they're called? The caps.
Yeah.
But when I was looking through images, he only wears that when he wears his rain poncho.
Yeah.
On Edu and at the very beginning of the movie on the other planet there.
Lamu.
Yeah.
But
so I would like to get this one as a second release with his poncho and hat at some point. But
I'd like that too. And just to point out, because some people are talking about that in the chat as well, he has a different rank at the beginning of the movie, so we would need a different torso. But he does when he does go to Edu, he has this rank, obviously, because it's
So that's what they should do. In my mind, they should just repack this exact same figure and give him the poncho and hat from Edu. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Get it done.
Yeah, I'd like that too.
But they won't do it. I don't know. Maybe they will. I wish they would. We'll see.
Deluxe.
But
yeah. Should we move on to the next guy?
Sure.
So we can keep the train moving.
Sure.
I'm talking about Choppa. Get to the Choppa. So he was the only Ahsoka figure who was pipelined before being actually revealed, just as a point of fact, because I know everyone was depressed about Baylan and Shin not being pipelined. But anyway, he was pipelined previously at Comic-Con, which is not that long ago. So this is, again, deco and sculpting are realistic based on the Ahsoka series, and the accessories are as well, because it includes his posed radar dish for when he's looking around, trying to find the Superstar Destroyer engine, which he found because of the tracking beacon that he placed on it, which is also included with this figure. He's got some interesting head articulation for the expressions from this series, which I think is really cool to see.
Yeah.
And then the downside, everyone's so sad about the head arms are not articulated in the elbows. They move up, they're hinged at the head. But the Disney Parks one has elbows, but it's also significantly bulkier. So I don't know.
It's got wrists. It's got wrists as well, hasn't it? The Disney one.
Yeah.
It
Wrists
has
and elbows. Yeah.
The little hand thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get. Yeah. They're all. I don't know if they're all the elbows, but so I don't know. We want to play a bit. We cry about, we say we want, when they give us a big giant removable helmet that they say is for playability, we say that sucks. We want accuracy. When they give us accurate looking smaller head arms like this, we cry and say we want playability. We want the elbows. I guess posability.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I prefer the accuracy. I like this, even though they don't move.
Yeah.
I can't
Maybe
remember
there's
this
a way.
little droid's name, but he's got a hinged.
LANVK. I think it's going to be a lot bigger than the Chopper's head thing is going to. So I don't know. Here's the Frankenstein one. That's just what I have in hand right now. But these
those are a lot
bigger.
bulkier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you like them, maybe you can pop these out and put those ones in. I don't know. But this I don't know. I think the sculpt looks pretty great.
The head articulation does this for me, though. I think this makes it a better figure than the Disney one. Just because you can pose him more, you can get that bit more character into him.
Yeah.
Evan, do you have the shot where he's like kind of like Naruto running? Yeah, that one.
Naruto. Chopper's an anime kid.
That is the best picture. Emily actually shared that
Yep.
from our profile because it's just a hysterical. That's such a like Chopper. That personifies Chopper so well.
We've had issues with
Yeah.
some of the product photography lately, but that
one was on point.
That's
delight.
a spectacular photo. I love that so much. They knew what they were doing with that one.
It's so
So the Disney Parks one is based on the animation, so its details are a little simpler. And this is based on the live action. As we said, there's like a few panels that are a little more less askew than the animated one. But as Howrunner Base asks here in the chat, but do you think it's just going to be the same sculpt that's going to be in the mural card? I think it's probably going to be the same sculpt. I see no reason not to necessarily.
Yeah. So what's the difference? Because
So John lined them all up before, didn't you, on the post we did? So
yeah, because Black Series they just got a Rebels version timed with Ahsoka, but they re-released it. It's the same figure, but they put it on a new Rebels card mural.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that, but yeah, with a new number.
Yeah, with the new number, and it's
Seems
the
like a
same
mistake,
exact
but-
thing as the first. It's
And
a
so,
Black Series problem. I don't care, but like,
But yeah, so and that was like Hasbro's interpretation of what Rebels Chopper would look like in a realistic format, and this is what Lucasfilm interpreted, for Ahsoka.
Okay.
Whatever, they're all fairly similar, but yeah, I don't know. I think it looks great. I'm glad to have it. Obviously, love Chopper. I said bring on all the disguise repaints that I posted about. I did say bring on Cheap from Clone Wars, but I think they'd actually need more tooling than that, sad to say, because his panels are a lot more covered and complete. But I think I mentioned before, but for the Miro card version, I'd like to have some more Rebels focused accessories like his rocket booster and maybe his additional arm, which the Disney Parks one had. But
I was gonna say if they gave the Rebels version different arms, but they're still compatible with that, then you can have some different variations.
I want the flexing that he did at the end of the Corellia episode.
Right. Does the head on the Phantom 2 in the HasLab have arms? I know it's smaller than this since it was all scaled down.
Yeah, it does. Does it have arms? Actually, let me double check.
Not sure.
Because that's a missed opportunity. I mean, nope, that's fine. We're happy.
Well, got bigger fish to fry than whether or not
we do. It's not a deal breaker.
I'm not even going to look it up because I don't care.
Perfect.
So
here we go. Here's what we do care about.
We do need AP5 with a Comtech chip with a full singing scene.
Yeah.
And on the Miro card figure, they did announce at PulseCon that Chopper and Sabine will be available similar to the throne room. It'll be like an open pre-order window for a certain amount of time. Then once they close that, then they will go into production on that, guys. That was the bit of news out of that. So we will find more in the new year at some point. So I move on to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Sorry, another couple Chopper photos.
He does a great job. Huyang Gang stays winning, folks. This is the Huyang Gang victory lap. Thank God.
Basically, Charlie Sheen.
Winning. I've wanted this guy for over a decade since he was in Clone Wars. I never thought we would get him. But
especially a definitive one.
Yeah.
Are you upset about the apparent lack of articulation on the backpack thing, or?
No, again, it's like pick your battles. Sometimes I know if I get upset about every single negative thing, I will never be happy. So there you go. But
that's fair.
I got a few nitpicks. I got to be honest. His accessories are molded in the same color as his body, which is not the case in the Black Series one. His training lightsaber and data pad. But you know what? That's fine.
Well, didn't they say though that this is like a very early?
They did. Yeah.
So that could change.
Right.
That could change.
That could, yeah. I also, it doesn't really.
Isn't he more like silver than tan anyway?
He's kind of like, so in the Clone Wars, I think it's hard to say. He looks good to me, but I think a different lighting might make him look a little different. But yeah, so they instead, again, with the elbow articulation. I know elbows on droids is the new nitpick for everybody, but and he has swappable backpacks. So one has the arms folded up and one has them kind of pre-posed. But I think you can still pose them a little bit, just not at the elbows or the wrists. as far as I know. But I don't know. Not 100% sure on
I mean,
that.
it
But
comes with quite a few accessories. He's pretty well articulated. I guess they've got to cut they've got to draw a line somewhere and say, to make this figure work and make it affordable, there's got to be some level of compromise, I guess, and that's where the compromise came.
Yeah, and I think that's fine because I love the scene in Clone Wars where he's picking lightsaber parts out of the drawers behind him, and he did it again in near the end of the series for Ezra. I thought that was awesome to finally see that. And so I appreciate that they have the alternate version, even if it's not as fully articulated as it could be. But I would love to see a deluxe version with all his arms out with the training lightsabers, so you can tell Sabine how bad she is at this. But yeah, very glad to see this guy. He was not. I think Yak Face might have rumored him like a day in advance, but there was no real indication that he was coming. So it was exciting to see.
If they did a deluxe version, they could do so many accessories with it, like you were saying. It's just so many. All those training lightsabers, stuff from the training thing that we saw in the T6.
Yeah.
If they're never going to make a T6, I mean, at least all the cool little things from the dojo would be nice.
Well, more training remotes and stuff. And then Hal Runner Base says, I just checked. The HasLab Chopper does have arms, but they aren't as expressive as the TVC version. So thank you for doing that for us.
Well, they wouldn't be swappable anyway because that one's underscaled, right? They intentionally made that chopper too small. Well, I shouldn't say too small. They made him smaller so that he would scale with the Ghost better and the Phantom better. Yeah. So you won't be able to switch those out anyway. They'd be little teeny T-Rex arms or whatever.
And yes, Revoc, it was me who asked for this for 3 years in the March Madness.
He hasn't stopped.
My top 25 every time. I can stop now. I can rest finally. Thank God. I never have to vote for Velkin, and I never have to extol the virtues of the Huyang gang ever again. But
Huyang was going to be on my top 25 for 2024, and I'm glad they beat me to it.
Thank God. You joined the Huyang gang.
Yeah, it's nice to actually see something come out in a new show and not have to ask for it.
Yeah.
What a weird thought. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, great figure.
So, yes, I guess I don't have a lot to say. Just I'm very happy to see him.
Happy for you, John. Happy for all of us.
Yes, very happy for you, John.
Yeah. Thank you. But yes, all right. So next set's not as exciting, but it's fine. It's great. It's lovely. It's look at that guy. As we go through the pictures. There you go. Look at that guy. He's looking at all the data. Look at that. He's looking at my top 25 list, saying who's going to be made next. Is it going to be Life Day Chewy? We already had Life Day Chewy. I mean, is it going to be Lumpy? Is it going to be Simalu? Thank God. It's going to be all of them. It's going to be Kister and Wald next, 25th anniversary, I hope. But all right, so we got the 2-pack Jedi Knight Revenant HK47. Yes, 47, 87. I always mix them up now. But pipelined at Comic-Con and already revealed. This is the third 2-pack in the modern line in this expression after the Ewoks cartoon set that is just now hitting that Lewis got and the Obi-Wan Kenobi showdown set. The HK47 was a Build-A-Droid in the 2008 Legacy Collection Attack of the Clones wave that was later repainted as HK50 in the 2009 Legacy Collection Empire Strikes Back wave. They had a blue version, Emily said this would be a refresh, which is just a repack indeed. And so this is the kind of a strange topic, but it's the first, as far as I know, it's the first Legacy Collection repack in Vintage Collection that wasn't previously in Vintage Collection 1.0. And I don't think they had ever said that they couldn't do that, but there was rumors in the community that they couldn't do that because they just hadn't done that. And Lewis,
I think when you look at it, there's always been rumors out there, hasn't there? People saying, "Oh, they've lost this and they haven't got it." I think the reason those rumors are there is because there's so many figures that they could just throw out. If they've got the tooling for, a Malakili, for example, they could have put him out for Return of the Jedi 40th. So, and there are other figures out there. Giran is another figure that he sells for crazy money, and it's still a decent figure. So if they do have this, why are they not pulling that sort of stuff out and filling it in instead of, a Re-Ease repack or, some of the others? It's just as easy, surely, for them to repack one of those as it is some of these other ones, 9 Num. We've seen him again how many times? And that's what makes you think, well, perhaps there is some truth in the fact they've lost it. But then I think Chris
Yeah.
did say on a Q&A very recently, somebody asked Chris about old tooling, and I think I can't remember exactly how he said it, but he pretty much said we can pull from anything. You know, we still have it. So
Yeah.
it's still up for debate, isn't it? It's who's telling
Yeah.
the truth, or do they know what they've got? I don't know.
He said something to the effect of like, we don't, and I know this is everyone's gonna jump up my took us here about this, but he said we don't want to repack stuff that's not up to the standards. So like we don't want to reach too far back. Yes, I know they have reached farther back than Legacy Collection before. I'm fully aware of that fact. But in general, they want to only repack the stuff that works. And again, Reese, he doesn't have ankles, he doesn't have swivel hips. But so I think maybe they were like, okay, only starting with Vintage Collection and Black Series, that's kind of like a blanket. We're only going to repack that stuff. And then they kind of have been ignoring Legacy Collection for that reason, maybe. But I don't know. It is. I think this
Got to be a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. But and I was sort of wondering if they were going to use the HK87 arms and legs for this guy, because I think they could have. And I'm sure some customizers will do great work with that. But do you guys have the HK47 figure already? The old one?
I don't.
I do not.
Okay.
No.
So this is a welcome addition for me.
I have the
like
original Revan, but that one is soon to go in the trash. So.
I've got, I mean, my collection, one of the biggest gaps in my collection is legacy stuff, actually, because just that was a period in my life when, you know, having kids and, you know, doing whatever in life, buying houses. I can't remember where I was, but, you know, that for me is where I'm missing most stuff. And that's where it's weird that you're not seeing some of this other stuff come through. So yeah. I want it. Don't know about anyone else, but I want to see some of it.
Oh, totally. I wouldn't mind. There's a bunch that I missed that I'd love a chance at. And if we're not going to get new stuff, I don't want to take away from the new things we'll get. So if there's things that exist that are good enough, I will happily take that.
I think a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of people, but I think complete HK47s out there until now are pretty rare, because I think a lot of people didn't buy all the necessary sets or figures or whatever in order to complete the full figure, because it was a Build-A-Droid, right? So
yeah,
you could buy one on you could buy one, a complete one on eBay, but I'm pretty sure it was quite a bit of money to do that. So,
and this is the first time that they've put out. So, like I said, they did the HK50, the blue one, a year later,
yes.
and then, but this is the first time they've ever done either of those as a full figure.
Yes,
and they've done it. They did a few Build-A-Droids as full figures, but it's cool to see. I think it's a pretty good figure. I do have it, and again, it doesn't have, you know, full today's articulation, but it still has knees and ankles and most of everything you need. You know, if we know droid elbows, it has droid elbows. Thank God that it has elbows. But yeah, are we able to go to some of the other pictures of this guy?
We are. Sorry, I was reading.
Stacey.
Yes. So here's Revan.
So yeah, and so the costume on this guy, he has white tabards underneath, which is not technically, we did a whole little deep dive on this. It's not technically correct, but in the game, he doesn't have any tabards underneath the waist. But since it's a repaint of the other version, it's kind of like whatever. When the Black Series did this, they gave him the brown tabards, which is only seen on a fan render of this character. So they, which is
again.
Yep.
Yeah, continuing the tradition of using fan art for Revan figures.
How does that happen? Whatever.
And this is also similar to this. I Knights of the Old Republic is, I've only played some of it, but it's similar to a Starforge outfit, I guess, but it's not identical. But in the Galaxy of Heroes, it's called Jedi Knight Revan, and everyone was all confused and scared that it said Galaxy of Heroes, but the Black Series Jedi Revan also said Galaxy of Heroes a few years ago, so there is precedence for that.
Yeah.
I do kind of wish that the HK was on a KOTOR card.
Yeah, because we have
Knights of the Old
other...
Republic is a little more meaningful than Galaxy of Heroes.
To like the Jedi Revan, I could see having the Galaxy of Heroes card because that's his look from that game. But I feel like this was our chance to get HK47 on his definitive original media card back. They didn't do that.
Beggars can't be choosers. We're TVC.
Yeah.
I'm going to be ripping it off that car back anyway. I don't care.
Yeah.
Meatbag.
Interestingly, I think we chatted about this, didn't we? When we go back and look over the month, SWTVC, to see what posts got the most likes. I mean, this did really, really well.
Tremendously popular.
Not just this one, but we did another Revan post, which was sort of the early reveals before we got the official pictures through, and both of those were like, top 9 in terms of most liked. I mean, people really like this character, and so even though he's not 100% perfect, I don't know, it doesn't seem to affect his popularity.
Happy with it, honestly. I know I'm usually a stickler for details. It doesn't bother me. I don't know.
I think that looks great. I think it looks great. I mean, it's a brand new figure, and they've already found a way to do smart reuse with it of a variant that people also have asked for. So yeah, I like that a lot.
And very exciting that Revan is, of course, yet another one that we're ticking off the bracket. That will not appear next year. Another open slot,
unless he shows up in a certain show down the line as a certain actor that's been rumored. And I'm not going to say
he would have to have
another one,
a completely different outfit. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, he'll be back on that list. But
this is very true. You're right. That would blow my mind if that comes to fruition, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't think they're going to do it, but we'll see. We'll see.
So
we'll talk offline about that one.
I haven't played Galaxy of Heroes. I don't know anybody who has, but
no, I haven't.
It's a nice.
Is there a story to it?
Characters in the line. I think the story is that you're at a cantina and you're choosing little hologram versions of these characters to play in a battle.
Oh,
so that's how they keep it in the universe.
It's a turn-based game, isn't it?
I don't know.
Where you go and then your opponent goes and then you go and then
I think something like that. From the videos I've seen,
it's kind of like the original KOTOR games were turn-based too, weren't they? Yeah.
It makes me think of, so we've got this, and then we got Lando from Solo, but via Battlefront 2, not Solo. I don't know why, but whatever. It makes me think maybe I should be all on board the Galaxy of Heroes Gaming Greats thing to get us Ben Solo, because I think he's in Galaxy of Heroes.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, why
not? One way or another.
Yeah,
I feel like we have a higher chance of seeing him on a Galaxy of Heroes card than on a Rise of Skywalker card. So,
would you be mad?
It was a hologram.
If they did that, would you be mad?
Yeah, do a hologram version.
Hey man, with seeing how angry people are about the sequels, you know what? Give them a spoonful of sugar so that they can swallow that and enjoy it if it's Galaxy of Heroes, and don't have to put that boo hiss sequel name in their collection.
But would you individually be mad about that? That's what I'm asking.
Would I be mad on some level? Yes, but also just defeated and accepting, because again, take the wins where and how you can.
That's
like
fair.
Stephen Murphy says, do Dryden Voss from his Clone Wars Season 7 hologram, because they're never going to do him on a solo card.
I'll take it.
Why not?
Yep.
I will say, so on the branding of this set, and I think we pointed out before, but it doesn't say Gaming Greats anywhere on the box, I don't think.
I don't think it
Which
does.
is interesting, because they were kind of doing, and they're doing that now on all the Black Series gaming.
Yeah,
and they showed us the back of HK's card, so no.
Well, it didn't.
The next Q&A, if Gaming Greats is still like a thing for TVC, because
I mean, they're doing so many gaming figures, they can call it whatever they want, in my opinion, but. That is, I don't know why they've dropped, because it's also not on the Revan, the single Revan card.
It's like I see a perfect spot where they could put the logo right here. But it just seems like an oversight more than anything. But I'm not too bothered about it.
I would move TVC or the Vintage Collection to the top right and put Gaming Greats in the bottom left there. That's what I would do.
We got options.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right, we got about 20 minutes left. Let's talk about pipelines.
Yes.
So I don't know anything about this guy, so I'm going to need those of you who play Jedi Survivor to tell me what is going on with.
I hesitate.
Imperial officer. Well, don't tell me. No spoilers, but is it? Yeah, just give me a little.
I haven't finished the game either yet, but
okay.
Go ahead.
There's a part of the game where he has to infiltrate an Imperial facility, so he puts on a disguise in true rebel fashion. So. Imperial disguise, so that he can walk around unfettered. But it's
part of the plot. It's not that they've just chucked him on a body and gone, there you go, have another Cal Kestis.
No, it's a very important scene, series or mission that you're on. Is a very important part of the story. So
Okay. What does BD? I looked up pictures of this. What does BD1 look like in this scene? Because I know you can kind of add skins as you go. At least
Yeah, I
No,
think
this is the problem.
He's the
You could look
same.
like anything because you can
Yeah.
change him as the
Right,
game goes
okay.
on. So
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it wasn't like a specific Imperial all black paint job version or anything like that.
Oh,
No,
I don't remember it
isn't
being, no.
BD1 skittering around somewhere else while you're going through?
Yeah, I don't know
as
if he's
Cal?
with him in that scene. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're right. Which is odd because they
Huh.
did say he's coming with a repainted version. So
Yeah.
Because they do interact together. Because BD1's there, but I think they split and then meet back up.
I think there is an
Okay.
Imperial skin that you can get for him though. So whether or not they will use that and just to tie it in could be
I hope they
interesting.
do.
Hopefully a new version. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love that.
But we're back to everyone's favorite subject, the rank badge talk. So he's got 1 row of 4 blue squares, 1 code cylinder on each side, which is a new torso. But that unlocks, according to Quentin Lambert's great Imperial officer chart, the real Q-tip. This torso can lead to some officers from A New Hope, because they all had most of them had 1 line only of them, including 3 from the Death Star. Lieutenant Shan Childson, who says, "Where are you taking this thing?" Lieutenant Tanbris, who says, "We count 30 rebel ships, Lord Vader." And Lieutenant Paul Tradum, TK421, do you copy? And they already made him a decade ago.
glorious sideburns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that this guy? This guy
It's the guy, I think so. Yes, it's that guy. It's the guy from the Scanning Crew set from Kmart.
Yeah, that's that guy.
10, 11 years ago. But they also can do Commander Danger, who says, "Holding her is dangerous." That's where his name comes from. It's a pun, which I kind of hate and I kind of love. But he's from the raid on the Tanta V4. Got to get that every time at the beginning of the movie. And some of these need boxes on their belts, but that would be my pick because they're doing Leia and Vader next year, and we already have the playset. So I would love to get that guy. I know. Again, we just talked about these background white dudes are not the most exciting instead of aliens or major characters or villains, but if they have the body and we have other characters to go with them, they help fill out the scene.
It's smart world
And
building.
Just real quick, I keep seeing comments from certain people about how they'd rather
I'll be back real quick.
a different Imperial officer or whatever. And it's like, sure, but as we've seen, it's just about expanding the tooling library in general.
Yeah.
Right? Like Cal Kestis gave us legs for, Tessic.
Tessic.
Right?
Yep. And was it
I mean,
Andor for Velkin? And
yeah. So all these people who are whining, "Oh, I don't want new media figures. I want OT characters or whatever." It's like, okay, but understand that those figures are helping to give you the characters that you say you would want instead. So like it's about expanding the overall tooling library. And so this Cal Kestis figure, as John just so eloquently said, is going to unlock several other OT Imperial officers for us. So I'm all about it. I can't wait. I'm super excited.
I love it. I mean, I love the game anyway. So for me,
Yeah.
any more figures we can get from that game, I think is great. And even if it is, okay, most of it's been done before. Like you say, there's some new bits which help us, but I'll take it. I'll take it all day long. And I think the only thing that gets a little bit frustrating again is like, well, will we ever see again without spoilers? There's this particular scene where he's wearing this. There's another character in it who would be great as well to have in the line. And it sort of becomes one of those, okay, we're getting him, it's brilliant, but is he just going to be left on his own now? I guess he can blend into an Imperial display or something somewhere, so he won't be left standing on the shelf, perhaps like 100%. One of you, like the Knights of Renner. But that's the only downside.
The lieutenant who's kind of opposing Dedramiro in Andor. Does he have 3 squares or 4 squares?
Oh,
do you know who I'm talking about? The lieutenant was giving her problems.
Yeah,
what's
I don't remember. I gotta look on Lambert on Quentin's sheet. There's a few that have the 4, but they only have 1 rank, but they only have 1 code cylinder or something.
I'm trying to remember his name.
Lieutenant
Blevin. Blevin.
Yeah,
that's his name. And he's got three blue squares, not 4.
There are a lot of Andor officers I'd love to see, and a lot of them do have the A New Hope style one row.
Yeah.
But
Well, so I was just looking at Blevin, the guy that I mentioned, and he's got 3 squares, not 4. So unfortunately, this Cal Kestis body cannot be used for him. But
every torso gets us a little closer to
Yep.
other characters, which is fine, which is what we
Yeah,
want.
And also, if you're a customizer, it's easy head swaps. Again, it's another figure that you can throw some heads around and again build out your Imperials a bit. So it has a lot of
And
uses.
And as I kind of said, you can make a Patrick figure from this head sculpt too, with the red head. Is he gonna have to be taller than I haven't compared the existing Cal to Piet, but is he gonna have to be a taller body like Thrawn? Because Cal's kind of a tall guy.
Is he tall? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it out, but
maybe what they could do is they could use Thrawn's legs, only paint them black.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
could do that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
they
thinking.
got options.
and
So,
how run a base there, that comment is, I'd agree with 100%. Inquisitor Cal. We want that.
Yes. Oh, I would love that. We'd love that. And actually, we talked about this. The Grand Inquisitor's legs could go a long way towards that, right? Because they're the same
I think
legs
so.
on Inquisitor Cal. I'd have to bring up an image, but
I think he had some clone armor or something in there too. But
let's keep going
right.
because we're running out
Yeah.
of time. So
next guy, the next repaint, but it's the Mandalorian Judge with the orange and blue helmet and the jaunty green cape over one shoulder. He's a sassy kind of guy. It should be, we've got a few other Mandalorians in the pipeline. We've got a few that already exist, but it should be an almost entirely identical sculpt to the Mandalorian Fleet Commander that's already also in the pipeline from Season 3, which can use the chest from the basic Clone Wars Mandalorian and perhaps the thighs from the live-action Death Watch, but we'll need new lower legs at least. And we were all asking for these covert Mandalorians about 1 million years ago when Season 3 was on of Mandalorian, which actually was only 6 or 7 months ago. But again, this goes back to Favreau being much more tight-lipped than Filoni or the other showrunners, with the fact that we don't get anything from his specific shows that he runs for about 18 months at this point, which is unfortunate, but that's the reality. But I do like this guy.
He's
He's
in
a
the
unique...
trailer, though. Wasn't this guy
He
in
was,
the trailer?
yeah.
Because we saw a few different Mandos, and everyone went mad. Oh, we want those repaints, and then now we're getting
Maybe
it. No one wants it.
Hasbro doesn't
block
watch the trailers. Yeah.
They block the trailers at the Hasbro office so they make sure that they can't see
Yeah.
them ahead of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he judges the little fight between Ragnar and Grogu. So again, we don't have Ragnar. I can't fill out the whole scene, but I'm glad they're adding more of the Mandos from the covert. And I think he might have been seen in Season 1 also. I mean, he was in the same group, but I don't know, under the in the shadows of the Navarro catacombs or whatever, maybe. But it's a cool design, and
yeah, I
it's
think
a pretty striking helmet.
Yeah,
and like you said, I saw a lot of negativity about this guy, which is kind of confusing because, like you said, everybody was clamoring for more, Mando. They wanted more Mandos from the covert, and now we're getting Mandos from the covert, and people are like, "These pipelines suck," and it's like,
I think
okay,
the reason everyone felt that way was because they're not main figure pipelines, are they? I mean, they're almost like we're getting a bit of a side dish here. Where's the main course? And I think that's partly where people were getting frustrated because I think if someone put him out as even as a Walmart exclusive or something like that because he's a repaint, I think people would be quite happy with him. But to pipeline him and kind of build him up when really it's a repaint figure, I think that's why people get a bit annoyed.
Sure.
Well,
and all of these pipelines were kind of repaints in that kind of
Hasbro can't win, right? Because if they didn't show something like this, then we'd whine and say, "Well, wow, they were really light on the pipelines. Like they barely showed anything. This was a really weak showing for TVC." And then when they show things that are coming, we're like, "This sucks." So,
and it's
come on, guys, they can't win here.
They could win if they had a bigger tooling budget so that they could make more new figures. But
this is true.
But if they don't do these repaints, we all say, "Oh my God, they're so stupid. Why don't they do these easy no-brainer repaints?" And then they pipeline them, and we say, "That's boring. We just don't do that."
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, it would be nice to have more. There's more new stuff coming in this, but I'm glad to have.
I think these are all fine.
We're the worst.
It's just because we were missing that main thing.
Yeah, and after no Balin and shit, I think it was like, you could have.
I do think that there is some Mandalorian fatigue setting in, and not even just necessarily Mandalorians, but like people. we have so much from that show that people are like starting to feel somewhat satisfied. I mean, there's definitely some things from like season 3 that I want, but
Well, yeah.
I have a shorter list of Mandalorian wants than from, you know, Andor and Ahsoka and, you know, et cetera, Obi-Wan. Like,
Yeah.
that's just me personally.
No.
We have a very robust Mandalorian line, and the other medias are really lacking, I think.
That's kind of why I feel a little more optimistic about Ahsoka, where it seems to be fairly warmly received by both fans and fans who collect. Where I think maybe that'll give them a little more confidence, because that's what they did with Mandalorian. They're like, oh, people like the Mandalorian. We'll just really focus on that, and everything else will be secondary. So
Yeah, that does seem to be the strategy for sure.
Yeah.
Something that, if we can move on to the final pipeline here.
Yes.
Something that straddles the Ahsoka series and Clone Wars kind of is this Siege of Mandalore themed Phase 2 Clone Trooper 4-pack. Good Lord, I can't even say it once. But so as far as we know, it's the new Andor clone, but it's got 1 332nd, 1 501st, and 2 Phase 2 shiny plain white clone troopers.
This is using the new clone body, presumably.
So
Correct.
I've got one sentence, 4 words for this. Thanks, I hate it. No, so like I get what they were going for with this. All 3 of those troopers are in the Siege of Mandalore. So it's a themed pack. I get that completely.
Yeah.
My issue is, as an army builder, when I'm trying to buy or build up whole squads or platoons of these things, right? Then I start thinking in my head, okay, how many of these freaking packs do I have to buy to get 30 501st guys or 30 332nd guys? And it starts to become just completely astronomical and unachievable and ridiculous. And so it's just frustrating for me. Like, I think going forward that they should not make packs like this. If they're going to make a trooper pack, then make a 501st pack and make a 332nd pack and make, an all white, whatever. Just keep them to one specific
I think
legion.
that could still happen. I think you could still find that could happen.
Like, I can't army build this way. It's just frustrating to me.
I mean, for me, Tyler, I would say I look at it slightly differently. When they originally announced the 332nd on the old mold, the first thing that my mind went to was that scene where you've got Ahsoka and Rex coming out onto the hangar. You've got Jesse standing there, and then behind him you've got this whole mix of all these troopers, all in formation, but all in a mix. And when they announced that, I thought, oh, that's brilliant. That's how I'm going to display them. That's how I want to set them up. So when this pack was announced, again, I just thought, well, that's perfect for this scene. And I think, not everyone buys, I know you do, but not everyone buys like 100 troopers or, whatever. Yeah. But some people sort of army build more on a smaller basis. And I think if you bought, 4 or 5 of these packs, you could do that display or that particular scene really well. And and have 3 different types of troopers. And so I can see what they're going with this. And I think, we say to Hasbro all the time, let us build out scenes, give us scenes. And so they're actually trying to give us a scene here. And, again, we're slamming them for it in a way. But I get what you're saying, because if you want 30 of those, you've got to buy 30 packs. So it doesn't work. But I wouldn't preclude later down the line them allowing you to do that.
Yeah. But also, if you were going to get 30 332nd and 30 501st, and let's say 60 of these guys, you can just buy all these sets.
Anyway.
But so they did just release these to the 501st and the 332nd on the old mold, like we said, over the past 2 years. So I got a ton of both of those.
So
and I'm like, as glad as I am, I'm very glad to get them on the new sculpt, because I was a little bit like, damn, I really want a lot of the, I love the Siege of Mandalore, I love the 501st, and I want to build those scenes out, but I wish they had just kind of waited to put them on the new body.
I agree. I agree.
So, but I don't really want them to fill up the main line with clones that it's the same Legion that we just got. Not to say they won't in 5 years or whatever.
Well, see,
I think this is a way to get them out. Yeah.
That's my issue, is that they just put out the 501st clones on the old body. Now they're putting out the 501st on the new body, but in this trooper pack. what I want is to be able to army build those 501st figures on the new body, but in a way where I can meaningfully army build. And I just fear like they're going to think to themselves, well, we just put this out twice. We can't put this out again anytime soon.
I think. Well, I think
because people are going to get tired of them.
The 501st get a lot of play throughout other lines as well, so I don't think we really have to worry about this being the last time they ever do a 501st. But do you not?
I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait
Yeah.
5 years for them to
Yeah,
to make that available to me to meaningfully army build in large numbers.
that's fair. That's fair.
I think the biggest, well, I agree with you though, Tyler. The biggest, hindrance you're going to find with this, even if you did say, right, I'm going to go and buy 30 of these because I want 30 of each or 60 of those, you can't get them because they restrict them to what, 5 purchases?
I didn't even think of that.
They do.
Yeah,
First they do, and then they get rid of that. But
yeah. So even that could be difficult. That's a Hasbro thing.
I didn't even think about that. Now I'm mad all over again.
I like this set for what it is, and like going with Lewis, you were saying earlier, where I think if I bought like 3 or 4 of these, I'd be happy because I just want a bunch of random generic clones, and then I would like just a few 501st and a few 332nd. I was way into army building for a second there. I just don't have the space or the money anymore, and I bought all of those old body 332nds and 501st. And I was really gung-ho about it, but then just because I don't really like the sculpt, I wasn't that excited. Most of them are still carded. I haven't done anything with them.
yeah.
And yet when I see this, I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm actually pretty excited for these all over again. So I think, and now that I'm in a point where I just want a few, this kind of scratches the itch. But I understand. I do think just solid, legions would be smart as well going forward.
I feel like they are losing the plot on what these trooper packs are supposed to be. I feel like they're making something complicated that is not complicated. Like they keep doing things like putting the chieftain in the pack, which should be on a card back, or they keep putting Waxer in the pack, which should be on a card back. Like named / unique characters do not belong.
But the very second one of these was the Rebel Fleet Trooper, right? And that was named specific characters.
I know.
So they've been doing this from so I know some of us want them to be. I think if you think of it more like the battle packs from 15 years ago, where sometimes they have a main character and 2 or 3 army builders. That's
true.
I mean, they started. That's
a good analogy.
Yeah.
I just feel like
they started right out of the gate with the stormtroopers, and that was like everybody wanted 1 million stormtroopers. So that was kind of like not everything is in that mold. So I think we kind of need to just adjust what we. But this one is you can buy 30, 40, or you can buy 2 or 3 if you want.
Yeah.
I feel like the Stormtrooper pack, the first one they ever did, was the most sensible one. They were like, okay, we're going to put a pauldron on in here, and you can take it off if you want, or you can put it on if you want. Like that's the kind of thing that they should be aiming for. Or like the officer pack is another good example because you can mix and match the heads or whatever. Like that was a really well executed one. But
so the problem with this one is that you want,
isn't it?
What's that?
The problem with this one is that you want too many of them.
Yeah.
You just got to keep buying them.
That's kind of.
Although with the officer pack, they put Monty in there, which I disagree
exactly.
with.
You've got named characters, so again, even that doesn't really work. But.
Biggest question of the pack is: will this have brow lines?
I know.
And will it have that? That helmet. Which, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Look at it from side on. It's not great, is it? So
my other question is because the existing clones are kind of off white, so are they going to fix that? Because that everyone whined about the Andor ones being a little yellow right out of the box.
I gotta say, I got a ton of these guys. I got a ton of these guys, and I don't see that.
They're not. Compare them to a stormtrooper, and then you'll see.
Yeah, I guess.
Because in and of themselves, they're fine, but.
Tyler, does it worry you that you could go out and buy? Let's say you can get your hands on 30 packs. You go out and buy 30 packs, and then in a year or so they do sort that helmet out, or they do something different. I mean, again, for me, it makes me a little bit more apprehensive about buying too many, just because. Again, we've all just done it with the 501st and the 332nds, and again, you could go through this whole thing cycle where they're just just that helmet's just not quite right, and at the moment it just makes me feel like I don't want to go all in on them.
Yeah, they need to fix that for sure.
But I see a lot of people worried in the chat that it's not going to be the new body. I don't see why they would use the old body. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but I don't think there's any reason to think it will be, but I don't know.
That'd
Don't
be
pre-order it
crazy.
until you see it, I
That'd
guess.
be
I
crazy
see
if
no
they-
reason why that clone trooper body should ever be released again at this point. Like retire
we
it
need to-
permanently, throw the mold in the ocean or something. Not landfill, not the ocean. Be environmental, but get rid of that tooling for good.
Yeah,
So
I'm into the set. I'm going to be buying too many of them, but
I mean, I'll buy
Yeah,
a
a
few.
lot
I'm just mad. But
yeah. But that's all we got. That's about it.
Cool.
Anything
good, though.
else?
No, there's a lot there.
Get that pipeline off the screen. Let's see our beautiful faces. We don't need to
Okay.
Some of us need sleep.
we got
Mhm.
3 minutes to answer any potential questions. You want to answer questions real quick? Any questions? Anybody wants to pose a question in the chat or no?
I didn't see anything else, but oh yeah, Chad Peak Obi-Wan asked, what if the 332nd and 501st are just extra VC-45 they didn't sell? I don't think that's a thing that could ever exist.
Yeah.
Because people wonder about
Hungari's got all those, I think.
Yeah. Then where's our Lando packs, you know?
HK47 resurrected pipeline, Bad Batch Rex on the new clone body. I freaking hope it
That was-
is, because if it's the one from the 4-pack, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be very mad.
It might be. I hope it's
I'm
that.
really hoping Hasbro knows better than to do that. God.
It's just odd they called him out as the Bad Batch version, though, isn't it?
I
mean,
know, that's what concerns me.
If it was just, oh, we've got a new Rex coming, everyone would think, yeah, they're actually finally sorting out that
They're gonna
Rex, but-
catch so much
Yeah.
flack for that if they repack that figure, and you know what? They will deserve it. But
Speaking for getting flack, I know you guys are giving me a hard time for being boring about talking about Obi-Wan's tooling from the Showdown set. And I've seen a lot of people talking about and wondering what we could get with this body. So,
Well, listen to the show.
Yeah. We
If
covered
you like
that, so-
discussing the lengths of tunics on somebody's leg in great detail. that's
How
it.
many parts does a leg have? Too many, but I'll name them all.
Oh, we all have our things. God bless them. I got Huyang. You got Obi-Wan.
Tyler's got his bank
Who's got a damn
batches.
barge, for God's sake?
Yeah. That's all fun, man. Sweet. Well,
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, not a lot of news. We
Cool.
just got a lot of new stuff. Hopefully, everybody's enjoying it. Hopefully, there's a lot to. We always want more. We're always going to ask for more. It'd be great to see Balin and Shin, but
this is just so good. I love this.
right this second, the quality has never been better. We just want more of it.
That's my favorite at the moment.
Wicked. Yeah.
He's like luminous. I mean, he glows. You can turn the
I
light
love
off
it.
and still see him.
I
That's
did
a
not
Halloween
purchase
figure.
that. Good on you, Lewis.
Yeah, I've got two. I've actually kept that some carded on that one, which I don't keep many carded, but I just love them with the coins and they
Yeah,
look great.
the unique Ewoks artwork.
Yeah. Well, we ready to sign off then?
I think so.
All right. Well, John,
Yeah.
how about you take us out, because you guided us expertly through this, and also you get
Wow.
to shout out Huyang Gang at the end. And I've also got crazy barking dogs that are just annoying the hell out of me, and I don't want that over the background at the end of the show.
Thanks.
Well, just real quick before you do your outro, I just want to thank everybody for attending and everybody who commented to hit the like button. We really appreciate it, guys. Awesome audience, awesome show. So thanks for coming
Yes,
on.
thanks for
But go ahead,
thanks for
John.
thanks for spending some time on your Sunday afternoon, evening, Monday morning, wherever you are. But as always, keep 375 alive. Back TVC, finish the 96, balance the scales, Hasbro. Huyang Gang for life, baby. May the force be with you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all. See you later.